started with some of the early items, which could give us a few more minutes until we get to the business item. First is approval of the agenda. We have
Sorry, Mr. Chair, we don't quite have a quorum yet. We're one short. By my count.
Okay.
Robbie, are you sure about that? I thought I counted 12 and I think there's 22 members.
I count 11, but I could.
Oh. Well, that would be the difference.
Well, I think that's all right, because if somebody jumps on before we get to the business item, unless you think we need to wait for a quorum to actually start the meeting.
Member Ellis.
Are a business item.
Member Ellis is number 12 by my count, and then Jessen. So we're good.
All right, perfect. Now that we have quorum, we will start the meeting at 1:03. So first item is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda that anyone has? It appears not. So we will now move on to approval of the August 15th F&P minutes. Any discussion? Seeing no hands raised, we will go ahead and take a vote on the approval of this. So Robbie, I'll turn it over to you. Well, first, excuse me, we need a motion and a second.
Coster motion.
Ellis will second.
All right, thank you, Coster. Motion, seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take roll call. Robbie?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll go down the list. My participant list disappears when I share, so I'll just go down the list as I have it here. So Anoka County OJ. Carver County Mielke.
Here, I'll abstain. I didn't attend the last meeting.
Okay. Dakota County Chapik. Hennepin County Piper.
Aye.
Scott County Jessen.
Aye.
Washington County Dahlheimer.
Aye.
Eden Prairie Ellis.
Aye.
Ridley Kozlucher. Lakeville Omi.
Aye.
Minneapolis Coster.
Aye.
Plymouth Thompson.
Aye.
St. Paul Weber. Metro Transit Genowiak.
I will abstain due to my absence in August.
Suburban Transit Fighton or Schull. DNR Spooner Walsh.
I'll abstain. I was absent also.
MnDOT Bike Ped Turner Bargain. MnDOT Metro District Tag. MnDOT State Aid Brown.
Aye.
MPCA AO or Dickerson. At Council MTS Henniker.
Aye.
Tab Coordinator Kotsukos.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes 10 ayes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Robbie. Let's see here. So I think we're good on the minutes. We'll just assume it's approved. We'll move to the next item is the public comment on committee business. Do we have anybody here to speak on committee business? Robbie?
No, Mr. Chair, nobody from the public.
All right, great. And then I will turn over to Elaine for the TAP report. Elaine?
Thank you, Chair. TAB met yesterday afternoon. First, with Chair's report, Hovland reported that the TAB executive had met prior to TAB. They discussed elements of the active transportation item that was on the agenda later in the meeting. They also heard information on the legislatively imposed mandate on MnDOT on greenhouse gas reduction strategies. that are required to be adopted February 2025. And the MnDOT staff will present that information at the November TAB meeting. And I think I'll be coming forward to the committees also. For the MnDOT report, Connie Siebgen reported that MnDOT is getting ready for winter preparations. MnDOT has challenges and are looking for more people to work to help to plow snow. And then per the fatality report the day before, there are 338 fatalities so far this year, and they are projecting to be more than 400 by the end of the year. For the MPCA, Frank Kolash reported that there are a number of grants open for climate resiliency and local communities. One is for planning grants for local communities, and another is for implementation of local resiliency actions. And for Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, MPCA is anticipating the next round of grants will be open in November. And then the EPA announced that they have an additional $1 billion for electric school buses throughout the country. The funding will be available for the electric school buses and for the bus charging infrastructure. The Metropolitan Airports Commission report, Bridget Reef reported that MAC is working on its 2025 operating budget. Revenues are forecasted for 2025 to be approximately $500 million. MAC also published the assessment of environmental effects. The document summarizes capital program projects, which projects are required to follow state environmental review process. For the Metropolitan Council report, Deb Barber reported that Network Now is out for public comment. Some routes that were suspended during COVID will be discontinued. And then the comment periods for the Regional Development Guide and the Transportation Policy Plan have closed, and the comments are being processed. And the comments for the TPP will be presented at a future committee meetings and TAB. For the Suburban Transit Association, Gary Hansen reported that Maple Grove Transit and Plymouth Metrolink issued a request for proposals for a joint transit study to improve service connections in the Northwest Metro. MBTA is planning to expand its Connect microtransit service to Prior Lake and Shakopee starting in January. And Southwest Autonomous Vehicle Service will launch November 18th. For business items, TAB approved a streamlined tip amendment for 3 7W projects, which is in District 3. They also approved a streamlined tip amendment for 7 projects in Anoka and throughout MnDOT's metro area, metro district projects. And then they also approved an active transportation project grant requirements. And the requirements covered 8 areas. For the program year, recipients of active transportation grants must prepare and release project construction contract for bids prior to December of 2026. Grant funding disbursements, grant recipients will be awarded 50% of the grant funds upon grant execution, and the remaining funds will be reimbursed as costs are incurred. The eligible project costs will remain the same as they applied for in the regional solicitation application. For project plan documentation, grant recipients will be required to submit final construction plan sheets prior to project bidding. For the project scope change policy, they will continue for these projects to use the solicitation scope change policy. Right-of-way acquisition documentation to confirm ownership of the property will be required. Environmental review documentation will not be required. And the small disadvantaged business contracting program, projects receiving more than $750,000 in grant funding and that will be bid out to a subcontracting firm will be required to participate in the Metropolitan Council's underutilized business program for construction contracting. And if the grant recipient has an equivalent adopted program, this requirement will be waived. And this is in place of the DBA requirements for the federal funding. And these requirements are part of the pilot project. So as next few years, as these projects are completed, they will look to see how these requirements are working and could be revised for the 2026 solicitation of the active transportation funds. They also had updates on the regional solicitation evaluation. Chair Hovland reported on the policymaker work group. The next meeting is before the TAB on November 20th. And then they will have a workshop on December 18th following a shortened TAB meeting. And the workshop will be open to all TAB and Council Transportation Committee members. And then Glenn Johnson reported on the transportation work group. After completing the grant requirements, the group will now focus on how to spend the $24 million per year on active transportation projects and how this will fit with the regional solicitation. They will be reviewing various funding sources and how they can be used thoughtfully. And the work group will meet 2 more times this year, October 24th and December 3rd. They had an information item on the MnDOT Strategic Highway Safety Plan. The plan sets the direction to reduce traffic fatalities and serious injuries. And then there also was a presentation on the equity evaluation of regional transportation investment processes. And that was my report.
Thank you, Elaine, for all of that information. Are there any questions for Elaine? It doesn't look like that. And Elaine, the active transportation pot of money, is that going to be kind of a parallel process with how the regional solicitation is being studied, or is that all going to be that as a package, or did they talk much about that?
That is what the work group will be working on next. So so the last few months they've been working on the grant requirements for the projects that were selected because these were new and they cannot follow the same federal requirements. So they had to come up with something that was modified. And so that's been, so now that these were adopted as an action item, they're going to shift their focus of upcoming, whether to have 2 applications, whether it be different, the same, and any other funding that's coming through that there's several pots of money.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks again. All right, that wraps up the TAB report, and the next item is our only business item, and it is a regional significant tip amendment. And Robbie, I think, are you presenting this one?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. All right. So our sole agenda item here for action is Action Transmittal 2024-48. It's a regionally significant tip amendment for Interstate 494's Easy Pass Extension and Improvements project. So MnDOT is requesting an amendment to the 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Program to add this regionally significant project to extend Easy Pass lanes, reconstruct mainline pavement, improve drainage, and add ADA improvements on Interstate 494 from Penn Avenue to 34th Avenue. So this is a regionally significant tip amendment. This is the routing, starting here at funding and programming. It will go to, and this is for the purpose of releasing this for public comments. This is a regionally significant amendment. It will go to TAC and then to TAB to release for public comment, and then there will be a 21-day comment period, and then they will review and recommend concurrence to the Transportation Committee and the full council. The reason this is regionally significant is because Easy Pass lanes represents new lanes on Interstate 494. So that's why this is a regionally significant project. Regionally significant, again, is a definition coming from federal regulations. So it's a transportation project that is on a facility that serves a regional transportation need. And this is a critical corridor, and we're expanding that capacity with these Easy Pass lanes. This project and 494 is already in the 2040 TPP, and it is in the draft 2050 TPP. And this tip amendment meets fiscal constraint because the federal and state funds are sufficient to fully fund the project. As I mentioned, it's in our long-range plans, and we're going to provide an opportunity for public comment on this tip amendment as well. A little bit of extra context on the project is in the tip amendment for funding. And we also attach a map for this item here so you can get a sense of how this interacts and overlaps with the existing phase one project that's currently under construction on 494. And with that, I will stand for your questions. We also have on the call is some MnDOT staff and Joe Barbeau for any other tip-related questions.
Okay. Great, thank you, Robbie. Does MnDOT have anything to add before we open it up for questions and discussion?
Chair, this is Molly McCartney from MnDOT.
Yeah.
One-time member of F&P, but yeah, I'm here to answer any questions about the TIP amendment. Andrew Latoya, our project manager, is on here to answer any questions about the project. But I think ideally we would have wanted to have this included in the TIP adoption, but it's a regionally significant project with the expansion that needs to go through the public comment period. So it got pulled out and we're trying to get it through. I don't know if anyone remembers Corridors of Commerce when the project was selected to what is being constructed right now. That's phase one out there. It was just part of what was chosen and selected through that Corridors of Commerce project. So this is just the second piece to the project that already got that was selected for that.
Okay, thank you, Molly. All right, I'll open it up to the committee for questions or comments.
Molly.
Innocent, go for it. You have a question for Molly?
Oh, yes. I just wanted to know, has any environmental documentation have been done for this specific projects, or is it a part of a larger one?
Thanks, Innocent. Yeah, I do believe we're going through all the required environmental work, NEPA that's required of this. We're programming it a couple of years out, so I think we're still have some milestones to reach on that. So, Andrew, if you're on and want to speak to any of that, would be helpful.
Yeah, maybe to just offer a little more detail. Yes, so Innocent, we are targeting to have the environmental document approved by the fall of next year.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking, though the new greenhouse gas mitigation and assessment is planning to, I think it's starting like February of next year.
Right.
But about 4 years ago, we had agreement with MnDOT staff, environmental staff, that use a MICE model to look at greenhouse or to analyze greenhouse emissions on kind of larger projects that have increase in capacity expansion. And the staff had been doing that, they started doing that before the new legislation to do that. So I just wanted to ensure that that's included in the environmental analysis that will be done.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, we are planning to do that. That's part of this process.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other, maybe a question for Robbie or Molly? So as long as projects are in the TIP, is it by the end of this year, then it doesn't fall under the new greenhouse gas emission legislation, is that right?
Right. So there's language that projects that are not included in the state transportation improvement program before or after February 2025 would need to go through, well, we'll have the additional assessment that is not yet completed for greenhouse gas and VMT reduction requirements. So that there's a technical advisory committee and others in central office that are working on this along with some partners, maybe some people online or definitely on TAC members. but that assessment is to be determined, exactly how that's all gonna go. Like Innocent mentioned, we do have the MICE model. And we do track, you know, emissions and other things through environmental. So we'll have all that data. This is an opportunity to put a project that's already been selected into the TIP and STIP, so it can continue to move through development.
Yep, that makes sense, and to mitigate some of the risk of that legislation that we really don't so I anticipate this probably isn't the last amendment like this that we'll see before that deadline. So
Well, because it's expansion and it needs to have the public comment period, this is probably the last project we'll see try to get into the STIP and TIP this way.
okay.
Yeah, I think I believe all the expansion related projects that were awarded in the regional solicitation have been have gone through or are already gone through with the TIP adoption.
Okay, great. All right, I don't see any other hands raised, so we would need, if people are ready to take a vote, we need a motion and a second on this item.
Mr. Chair, this is Paul with Paul Olney, City of Lakeville. I move approval.
All right, thanks, Paul. Do we have a second?
Darren Melke, I'll second.
All right, thank you, Darren. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none. Robbie, I'll turn it over to you to do the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anoka County OJ. Carver County Melke.
Aye.
Dakota County Chapik. Hennepin County Piper.
Aye.
Scott County Jessen.
Aye.
Washington County Dahlheim.
Aye.
Eden Prairie Ellis.
Aye.
Fridley Kozlucher. Lakeville Omi.
Aye.
Minneapolis Coster.
Aye.
Plymouth Thompson.
Aye.
St. Paul Weber. Metro Transit Janowiak.
Aye.
Suburban Transit Fighton. DNR Spooner Walsh.
Aye.
MnDOT Bike Pet Turn Bargain. MnDOT Metro District Tag. MnDOT State Aid Brown.
Aye.
MPCA Ale.
Aye.
Met Council MTS Hinneker.
Aye.
Tab Coordinator Kutsukos.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes with 14 ayes.
All right, great, Robbie. Thank you. That passes. That was our only business item. Do any of the committee members have any other business for discussion today? All right, being none, we will adjourn the meeting at 1:25. A quick one today. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.